Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of the Players NIL YouTube channel. Today we have a joint YouTube channel, both talking about inside influence, inside the industry, and influencers, people that influence others and how they've done that. And we have a special guest, Scott Smith from Johns Hopkins Men's Lacrosse. Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Well, you represent, what every young person aspires to do, use athletics to better their life, get through high school, get an opportunity to go to college, learn a ton on the field, off the field. Now you've launched your own business, which we'll talk about, Blue Crest Apparel, in a minute or so. I mean, do you understand the power that you have? Do you understand the influence that you have? Have you had any moments where you've realized, oh my God, these kids know who I am?
I definitely having like the power, like an influence, definitely sometimes gets lost on me. Like whether it's in the locker room or the kids that I train or the kids that I'm talking to at the Blue Crest tent. Sometimes I have to catch myself and make sure that my words are really what I want young kids to kind of like soak in. And I don't want to say anything that's not truthful or can lead them down the wrong path. So I think a lot of it is just encouragement and trying to get guys to try to be good people, good humans, and also just like letting them know that they're more powerful than they know, and that they can do anything that they want to, be anyone that they want to.
Great mindset. I love that. You're a fifth year senior at Johns Hopkins University, one of the great academic schools in the world. You're a senior captain. You're returning first team All American in men's lacrosse. You've got all of these accomplishments today, but let's go back to some of the earlier times. Tell me about your early memories of sports, fandom. What teams did you cheer for? Who are your heroes? What did you see that you wanted to emulate in the backyard or in the park? Give us a little personal story through your experience with sports and athletics.
I mean, honestly, where it all started was in the backyard with my brother. He was 7 years older than me. And whether it was basketball, football, roller hockey, I was always, the punching bag almost. He let me know that he was bigger, faster, stronger, better than me in every single way. Him and his friends, whether they would tackle me, but they were also, super, encouraging and supportive. Like they always wanted me to be around. And like I think that was huge for me because like I got to see how, my brother interacted with his friends and, that their life was mainly revolved around sports. It wasn't a lot of, obviously there was video games here and there and, doing stuff that normal kids do. But we spent a lot of time, outside in the neighborhood with, different kids. Um, and I think that's just where I saw a passion for sports because my brother, when he was, in high school, he was a younger, undersized kid, and all he wanted to do was he had dreams to play D1 baseball, and he wasn't getting the offers that he wanted to, but I saw the way that he trained and the way that he, was constantly going out to the field, getting extra, throws in, going to the batting cage and just bringing me along. And I remember he used to be throwing me fastballs, and I would be sitting behind the plate with a catcher's mitt and almost no helmet on, and I would be catching these balls, and my hand would be stinging because of how fast that he would be throwing it. But I mean, like having that, older brother, and like kind of seeing how fast that sports, you know, start transitioning to when you get older, I think that helped me, whether it was, with just reflexes, anything, or but yeah, I have a lot of respect and a lot to give to my brother for who I am today, and I think that's a big reason.
Well, that's great, and I'm sure that he appreciates it. And I'm sure your parents do too. Um, what were the games played in the neighborhood? What sports were played in the street or in the park or the yard or whatever it was? Everything.
It definitely revolved around seasons. We would do wiffle ball in the summer, knockout basketball, a ton of basketball. I mean, my brother was a baseball player, so that was like, as I said, wiffle ball, but what else was big? One of my favorites was when it would start to be fall. Obviously football, tossing the ball around, but I mentioned roller hockey a little bit earlier, before. And I remember my mom took me to play it against sports, and she got me a pair of, like roller blades for the first time. And I was out there with all my friends just playing roller hockey on this one little, raggedy hockey net. And we used to get off the school bus, and we would all meet at one of my friend. His name was Patrick. We'd all meet at his house, and we would just play until the sun would go down. So that was definitely one of my favorites. World Cup, whether it was at recess in middle school or high school, World Cup was a ton of fun. It was every sport. I mean,
Yeah.
besides, yeah,
I think that's pretty common. Most athletes that get to college played a variety of things. Neighbors, friends, brothers, sisters were all part of that. Parents, I think your parents were athletes as well, so that they supported your vision for athletics. When did you know that you could play at the next level? I know you were a great high school player. You ended up being an All-America, underarm All-American high school. But was there a moment? Was there a game? Was there a conversation? Maybe it was in the recruiting process where you said, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to get there."
I think it was just more of a shock. Man, I just loved playing. Like I never even thought about playing at the next level. I mean, obviously that was like the dream and the goal, but I just had so much fun playing, club lacrosse and being with my friends playing sports. Like that's really all I knew, and what I loved to do. It was almost like an escape from reality, just hanging out, laughing, competing with some of your best friends. But I remember one vivid experience. I was playing at a tournament in Towson, and this was before the rule change where, guys, now you can't get recruited until your junior year at September 1st. And I remember my club coach, he reached out to my parents and he said, Dave Petramala from Hopkins, he wants you to come down for a visit. And I didn't know anything about it besides, I was like, oh, Hopkins lacrosse, like, are you kidding me? That's awesome. Such a storied franchise, great academics. And, I went down with my family. We got the golf cart tour. And I just remember seeing, like, walking through Cordish for the first time and, seeing all the trophies, all the traditions, the jerseys. It was mainly the jerseys because I was like, I love blue and white, and I was a young kid. And it just stuck with me. And I really didn't even want to go anywhere after that. My mom, she kind of ruined the leverage in the meeting with Coach Petro. She was like, all right, like, we love this. Like, what do we have to do to get here?
Those moms, they always ruin that leverage
Yeah.
situation.
I mean,
She
she
told
she she knows me better than anybody. So,
she knew it was the right place.
yeah. And I mean, looking back on it now, there was no place that I would ever rather be. Um, I'm really lucky to have had the experience that I had at Hopkins.
You told me something in the preamble before we recorded that I'd read and I knew, but it just went off to me because this is a lesson for other people. So you have this amazing career, you get recruited, one of the icons in the industry, Coach Petramala, to one of the iconic schools, maybe the greatest lacrosse college program ever. You didn't play as a freshman. For all
Yeah.
those athletes out there who have all of these accolades and you know, they don't understand that it's another level, it's a different level. There's kids that are older. What was that adversity like, and how has that shaped who you are today as a fifth-year senior captain?
I mean, honestly, I I was looking back on it. I thought that my freshman year was just a complete act of selfishness, from myself. When I wasn't playing and I was sitting on the sideline, I wasn't engaged, and I wasn't like the loudest guy cheering for my teammates. It was honestly embarrassing, like looking back on it. And I think that's one of the things that drives me to try to be, a good teammate, or just with lacrosse in general, just knowing, how poor my effort and my mental state was freshman year, just thinking more inward and not looking at the bigger picture, and you know trying to build relationships with guys. I mean, obviously it was COVID, so like I was kind of tucked away and wasn't allowed to leave my dorm. Hopkins had a lot of strict restrictions. So like that was tough, and I didn't really gain the best relationships my freshman year. Obviously, that changed once things um, started getting looser, and I got to meet the great guys who have been on this team. Uh, but I remember I was going home after my freshman year, and I I had all these thoughts about having my parents come down and they would watch the games and I'll be on the sideline. I just remember feeling like all like super embarrassed because it was one of my first times that I wasn't playing, and I was like, that's got to change. Like I'm coming back next year and like I'm gonna play. Like, there's no way that I'm not gonna put my best foot forward. And I kind of cut out a lot of people who I used to talk to. I didn't really go to a lot of parties that summer. I worked with, one of my favorite trainers besides Coach Jay Dyer, obviously, Nicholas Sita, Monday through Saturday with a group of guys. And, Tuesdays and Thursdays were speed, agility, quickness. Monday was chest, tries, shoulders. Wednesday was legs. Friday was, kind of like a full body. And then, Saturday he would obviously change it up and, have us do different things. But that was like the biggest change for me of just knowing that you have to consistently put in work, coming from a public school where there's not a lot of guys who go and play, D1. It was, a lot of just friends who would pick up the sport who were just good athletes. And I kind of got to see a taste of, how the senior class used to work. Or just the guys in my class in general, like all the extra work that they would put in. And that's what resonated with me, just seeing how hard others worked and how much that I needed to put in order to propel my game.
I wish I could bottle that and ship it to every college athlete in the country that's maybe feeling sorry for themselves, not playing, not getting the respect that they think they earned or deserve. It's great. July 1st, 2021, the NCAA removed restrictions on college athletes' ability to monetize their brand. We now call it name, image, and likeness. For short, we refer to it as NIL. The NIL era has been dominated by Power Four conference schools and revenue generating sports, football, men's and women's basketball in particular. But real NIL, which the players NIL preaches and coaches, is realistic NIL, is the ability of a student athlete to leverage their position as a celebrity to create future opportunities. Some of that may be money. Some of it may be future employment opportunities, relationships. Some of it may be launching a business. You and some teammates launched a company called Blue Crest Apparel in the spring of 2024, a short time ago, leveraging who you are, this guy that's come from public high school, the ups of being a great high school player and recognize the downs of not playing as a freshman, the climb back up. And I know that some of those seasons you didn't win as many games as you wished. You're a first team All American, you're a senior captain, but you and your buddies took a class, and the class project resulted in this. First of all, tell us what Blue Crest Apparel is.
So, I mean, to get down to the nitty gritty of Blue Crest, obviously our mascot for Hopkins is a Blue Jay. And we like to consider our competitive advantage everywhere is just the guys in the locker room. We truly care about each other. I know that I would do anything for my brothers. And, the crest signifies a family crest. So Blue Crest means Blue Jay family. And all of our tents are run by Hopkins lacrosse players. So that's kind of where the name originated from.
What was the class that you took?
It was my leadership studies capstone. And it's actually funny because I got a C+ in it. Um, don't know why. I don't know if they didn't think it was the best idea. I kind of went against the grain a little bit, but I know a lot of the other people in my class, they just kind of did it for a project and they didn't, end up following through with it. But we made it came to life, and I mean, obviously, it wasn't just me. Brett Martin, Luke Martin, Mikey Trepida, they put in so much work, and I I couldn't have done it without them. They're unbelievable dudes, but they also just have a tireless work ethic, and they made it come to life.
It's great that you recognize your partners. Teamwork works at all levels in all aspects of life. All right, so we understand what Blue Crest Apparel means. We talk about brand. Sometimes we talk about personal brands. Sometimes we talk about corporate brands. My opinion is that brand is not what you think it is. It's what other people think of you. Okay. It's not about who you think you are. It's about what other people think of you. And you talked earlier about understanding the responsibility as a Blue Jay, as a college athlete, as a founding partner in Blue Crest Apparel when you're talking to younger kids. But if I were to ask you, what does the brand Blue Crest Apparel stand for? We understand the family and the genesis of the name, but what do you want other people, what do you hope other people envision or feel or see? What's the emotion that you want to emote when you talk about Blue Crest Apparel?
And when you're wearing any sort of Blue Crest merchandise, we like to think that you're part of that brotherhood. Hopkins Lacrosse, we are truly a brotherhood, whether it's guys who graduated in, the 80s or graduated 5 years ago. Everybody cares about each other. Everybody wants each other to do, great things and, wants to support one another. So we want, people to feel that type of brotherhood and that type of camaraderie once they wear, Blue Crest apparel. And, it's also about, just being a good person. When people come to our tent, it's not just all about, hey, this shirt's $30, this hat's $30, let me know if you need any help. It's, trying to get to know the families, the kids, where they come from, what their dreams are, what position they play, how they've been playing, what's your favorite pro team, trying to like actually build a relationship and, understand the people who, we're selling to. I think that's what makes us different because, we're small. We're not like these big companies like Under Armour, Goat USA. And I think that's a competitive advantage that we have because, we're out there. And even though we have an online presence, the most of our sales are generated through, the face-to-face, communications.
So we understand where the name came from. We understand the brand vision. What's the marketing plan? How are you getting the brand out there? How are you connecting with the audience? We understand what the connection is a little bit. Social media is a big part of it. I see you all over social. Where'd you learn that? How'd you learn that? What have you learned since you started about using social to promote a brand?
Yeah, I mean, first I want to give credit to Brett Martin because he whipped up a website like I've never seen before, and it looks awesome. I don't know if I could have, you know, done it the way that he did it. He's smart, he's diligent, one of the hardest workers I've ever met, and he took the reins and crafted that up, and that was a huge help for us, a huge start. And then we're only active on Instagram right now. I think we have about 15 posts. And all this stuff is kind of introducing the founding members, what type of products we're sharing. And we're trying to post regularly, at least 2-3 times a week, and also incorporate stories because we know how important social media is and getting our name out there to others.
Yeah. What are the products? What does Blue Crest sell?
We sell hats, sweatshirts, graphic t-shirts, and then also, just regular script t-shirt or regular, white and blue t-shirts with our logo in cursive. And, we're crafting up a dry fit line to come soon, but we kind of wanted to start small and appeal to, like the younger generation. So all of our graphic t-shirts are, more funny and have cartoons. Like we got one shirt that's Top Ched. It's on the back of it. It's a mouse, and he's got a lacrosse stick, and he's standing in front of a lacrosse goal, and there's little mice and rats going across the top of the pipe, and there's cheese hanging down. And it's actually funny because I talk about the brotherhood and how everybody at Hopkins wants each other to be successful, but one of my teammates, Hunter Juronsky, he was number 77, unbelievable D midi. He actually hand drew all of our graphic design shirts. I remember one time I was talking to him. We had a 7-hour bus ride to Columbus, Ohio, and I was like, "Hey, would you mind drawing some stuff?" Like without hesitation, he was like, "Absolutely! Like, just let me know what you're thinking." And he was so creative that in about 4 hours, he handed me 3 pieces of paper that looked. It's literally what's on the shirt. That's how good they were. So yeah, props to Hunter. You're an unbelievable artist and great dude.
I love that story. So you take this class, you get challenged, you say, let's, put this project together. You like it, even if the professor gave you a C plus, which at Johns Hopkins is probably like an A. I never got those. Um, then you launch. You have a great story. You think you know the audience. One of the things that entrepreneurs, I think, make a mistake sometimes is they get so passionate about their project, passionate about their brand, passionate about telling their story, that sometimes they don't listen to audience feedback or customer feedback. What kind of focus groups have you created? What has been the customer feedback? Have you made changes since you launched, whether it be in your story or your product or your future vision? What have you learned from your audience, from your customers?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is having, a group that we do. It's not just me, because if it was me, I would probably get lost by, down different rabbit holes. But, I have such a great support group of, not only, Brett, Luke, and Mikey, but also the guys on my team letting me know, like what they think, their honest feedback. I train a lot of kids at home, so, all the designs that we were producing, I was getting their feedback, asking them to send it to their teammates, and they all liked it. And another great thing about training young kids is that you get to hear all the young or the new slang terms that get brought up, and a lot of that stuff is what we're trying to appeal to the young kids. So that's what we would want to put on shirts, or market a little bit, so they kind of know that we're trying to understand them in a way, and that we care about them.
I think that's great. We're getting close to the end here. I got a couple more questions. The next question is in the advice section. Okay, so other athletes out there, young people, maybe athletes in particular, that have this entrepreneurial blood in them, this spirit, this vision. Words of advice, not just in the apparel business, but in the entrepreneurial space, while you're a student athlete, while you're at college. Give me a couple bullet points that I can use for social clips to plug this podcast. What would be the advice section?
Man, I mean, I think the best piece of advice is just go for it. There's the really only restraints that you're going to have in life are the ones that you put on yourself. I touched on this when we first started, but everybody's way more powerful and way more capable of things than they know. We can really make an impact on not only other people's lives, but also our lives in general, to keep chasing a better you than you were yesterday. And just if you love something and you're passionate about it, that's going to take you a lot farther than trying to chase money itself. So just find what you like, dedicate your time to it, have a great group of people around you, and don't listen to the naysayers or people who are trying to kill your dreams.
Love that. That's great. How many goals have you scored in college?
I don't know.
I think I saw two last year. So my question is, what's more exhilarating to you, a goal or a takeaway?
I mean, goals are definitely awesome, but what's most exhilarating is we have these things called bites in our defense, where it's kind of like a trap that's set up, and I get so fired up in practice, but also games, by seeing the guys on our defense get bites and in getting calls turnovers, because I mean, it is a team sport, and I feel like if you're really just focused on your own success and not on the other guys around you, then that's kind of like how I was freshman year. And you know you you need everybody on the squad to be bought in and be successful in order for you guys to do your job. And I mean, our job is to win games and win a championship. So it gets me fired up to see the other boys making big plays and making an impact on the team.
Great, good answer. What did I miss? What do you want to tell us about Blue Crest? Maybe your website, your logo, your social, any other advice, any other things you want to share with us? What did I miss?
I mean, if you want to check out Blue Crest, our Instagram is Blue Crest Apparel. We'd love if you shot us a follow, DM us with any questions or concerns, or just to say hi. My Instagram is Scott_Smith18. And if you're a young kid out there, just shoot me a DM. I usually respond to all of them. Don't have that many people in my DMs. So
Great. Scott Smith, co-founder, Blue Crest Apparel, Johns Hopkins Lacrosse, senior captain, first team All-American. Thank you for being a guest on our podcast.
thank you for having us. Appreciate it.